More than 90% of people should wait to claim Social Security to get the most from it. Barely 1 in 10 actually do. And researchers estimate that getting this one decision wrong costs the typical household more than $180,000 over a lifetime. So here are 5 simple ways to increase your Social Security benefit. But if you've done a good job saving, these 5 are not created equal. One of them is worth more than the other 4 combined, and it has almost nothing to do with how long you live. There's also one piece of common advice on this list that's useless for someone in your shoes, and I'll tell you exactly which one. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, here's what most people get backwards in our experience. When you hear increase your Social Security benefit, you probably think work longer and earn more. And if you were 28, sure, but if you're in your 50s or 60s with a long, strong earning career behind you, that ship has mostly sailed. Your benefit is largely baked. So for you, this isn't an earnings problem. It's a coordination and timing problem. It's about the decisions you make in the next few years, not the paychecks you already earned. I'm Mark Fonville, a certified financial planner and the CEO of Covenant Wealth Advisors. We manage nearly $1 billion for folks transitioning to and through retirement, folks in their 50s and 60s and 70s who've done a great job saving and now need a plan that brings it all together. Retirement income, taxes, investments, we plan them as one because that's how they actually work in real life. So let's start with the biggest lever. So way number 1, if you're married, delay the higher earners benefit toward age 70. Now, you've heard delay Social Security before, but I want to show you why it matters so much for a couple, because it's not the reason most people think. So here's how the system works. For every year you wait past your full retirement age, up to 70, your benefit grows by about 8%. Claim early at 62 and you lock in about 70% of your full benefit for life. Wait until 70 and you get about 124%. That's a benefit roughly 76% higher after inflation just for waiting. So let me make it real. Meet Jim and Susan. This is a hypothetical example and for illustration only, not actual client results. Jim's 66, Susan's 64. Jim was the high earner. Say his full benefit is about $3,200 a month. If he waits to 70, it grows to nearly $4,000. But here's the part so many folks miss in my experience. Jim isn't really delaying for Jim. When one spouse dies, the survivor keeps the larger of the 2 benefits, not both. So by waiting, Jim is permanently raising the check Susan will live on if she outlives him, and statistically, she will. That's the answer to my first question. The single most valuable move here isn't a bet on your lifespan. It's longevity insurance for whichever of you lives longest. But what if I die before I break even? Debate is the wrong question for a married couple. You're not protecting you. You're protecting the person across the breakfast table from you. So by the way, if that reframe just changed how you think about claiming, go ahead and subscribe, because the next few ways change the math even more, and I put out a new one of these every week. Which brings me to way number 2. Coordinate the 2 benefits as one decision, because most couples get the timing exactly backwards. The rule is really quite simple. Delaying the higher earner pays off as long as either spouse is alive. But delaying the lower earner only helps while you're both alive, because that smaller benefit disappears when the first spouse passes. Therefore, the pattern that wins for many couples is this. The higher earner waits, often all the way to 70. The lower earner can claim earlier, even at 62, to bring income in the door during the wait. So in our example, Susan might claim at 62 and start the cash flow. Jim holds out to 70 and locks in that bigger survivor benefit. For most married couples, having the higher earner delay is the right move. Not all of them, though. If the 2 of you have nearly identical benefits, the survivor math matters a lot less. So the truth is, you need to run the numbers to know the optimal age for both of you, but hopefully that's a good guideline so far. Now, quick gut check, and I actually want your answer on this one. If you're married, there are two camps. Camp 1, claim early and invest the difference. And then Camp 2, delay the high earner for the bigger survivor check. I'd love to know which camp you're in down in the comments below. Then stick with me because way number 3 changes the math for actually both camps. And by the way, the same Social Security checklist we use with clients, and along with 15 others, walks through critical issues to consider step by step. It's free, links in the description below, but let's go ahead and keep going with the video. Way number 3, and this is the one I promised was basically useless for someone who saved well. It's the advice you hear everywhere. Just work longer and earn more. And here's why it barely moves the needle for you. Your benefit is based on your highest 35 years of earnings, adjusted for inflation. If you've already got 35 strong years, working one more just swaps a high year for a slightly higher year. The needle really barely moves. And it gets worse. Social Security only counts earnings up to a yearly cap. In 2026, the cap is $184,500. Every dollar you earn above that doesn't get taxed for Social Security, and it doesn't build your benefit by a single penny. And even below the cap, high earners are already in the top tier of the formula. Down there, your last dollars earned add just 15 cents to your benefit. So when some article tells you the way to boost your Social Security is to grind it out a few more years at the office, for you, that's mostly a myth. Now, one honest exception, if you've got 0 or low income years in your record, say you took a decade off, then yes, filling those in can genuinely help. But for most people who've watched this far, working longer is the answer to a question you're not even really asking. So if working longer isn't it, what actually puts money back in your pocket this week? Well, this next one you can literally do tonight. Way number 4, check and fix your earnings record. This is the most overlooked one on the list, and it's free money if you find a mistake. Your entire benefit is built on what Social Security has on file for your lifetime earnings. And those records have errors. An employer reports the wrong number, you change jobs, or your company changes its name, and a year goes missing. Self-employment income gets muddled. Any of those can quietly shrink your benefit. So here's your homework. Go to ssa.gov and create a My Social Security account. Pull up your earnings statement and actually look at it year by year. Hunt for any year that's blank or looks too low. And if you find one, you can fix it, usually with a form called the SSA 7008. Dig up an old W-2 or tax return as proof. And can't find one? The IRS will give you a wage transcript for free. One catch, by the way, there's generally a time limit to correct the record, and it's about 3 years, 3 months, and 15 days after the year in question. But and this matters, there are real exceptions, like when an employer simply never reported your wages. So even on an old error, it's worth a call. Fix the record once and you raise every single check for the rest of your life. Potentially. Now, advisors on my team have actually found mistakes for our clients, so this is definitely worth a check for you. But what if you've already claimed and you're sitting there thinking you pulled the trigger too early? You're not stuck. That's way number 5, actually. Way number 5 is fixing a claim you already made, because Social Security actually gives you 2 do-overs. The first is a true reset. If you claimed within the last 12 months, you can file a form called the SSA 521 and withdraw your application entirely. It's like it never happened, and you can reclaim later at a higher amount. The catch is a big one. You have to pay back every dollar you've received, and you only get to do this once in your lifetime. Past that 12-month window, well, you've got a second option. As long as you're at full retirement age or older, you can voluntarily suspend your benefit. No repayment required. Your check just starts growing again at that 8% a year and automatically restarts at 70, larger than before. So the quick myth buster while we're here, you may have heard of something called file and suspend or restricted application. Those clever moves are just gone, phased out for basically everyone claiming today. So if a video from 2015 told you to do it, just ignore it entirely. All right, those are the 5 waves. But before you go, I promised you a bonus, a way to keep thousands more of the benefit you've already earned. So stick with me just a little bit more. So here's the bonus, and it's a big one. Because increasing your benefit means nothing if you hand a chunk of it right back in taxes. A lot of people think Social Security is tax-free, and it's not. Depending on your income, up to 85% of your benefit can be taxable. Never more than 85, but that's plenty. Now, you may have seen headlines in 2025 claiming a new law made Social Security tax-free for most people. And that's misleading, quite frankly. What actually passed was a temporary deduction for folks 65 and up in place through 2028. And it can help, but it phases out as income rises. So a lot of you watching will get little or none of it. And it does not change how your benefit itself is taxed. Here's the real opportunity. That window between when you stop working and when your benefit and required withdrawals kick in, that's often a low income valley. It's prime time for moves like Roth conversions, shifting money to tax-free while your rate is low. Do that and less of your Social Security may get taxed down the road. And that's exactly the kind of move where income, taxes, and investments all have to be planned together. So let's go ahead and bring it home. Of the 5, 3 matter most. 1, if you're married, delay the higher earner toward 70. 2, coordinate the 2 benefits as just one decision. And then 3, check your earnings record this week. So here's your next step. If you want to pressure test your own claiming decision, download the checklist below titled, "What issues should I consider with my Social Security retirement benefits?" It's in the 15 retirement checklist kit down below. It just walks through the whole thing in plain English. It's free. And obviously it's got other checklists in there as well that you'll find really useful. So again, down in the link below. So look, I want to leave you with the real point. This was never really about squeezing out a bigger check. It's really about making sure the person you love most is taken care of, even on the day you're no longer there to do it yourself. So that's what a good claiming decision actually buys. Peace of mind for both of you. If you want to go deeper, watch this next video on how your Social Security actually gets taxed and the income trap that catches so many retirees off guard. I'll see you there. Take care.